guys? It's Naseem here. Now, after using the iPhone 11 Pro Max for about 2 years now, the one thing that kept coming to my mind after using it on a day-to-day basis was this one simple statement that I think explains the 11 Pro Max pretty perfectly. And that statement is, I think that the iPhone 11 Pro Max is one of the most iconic iPhones to have ever been released. And I know that when you hear that, it might seem like I'm disregarding the iPhone 13 Pro or the 13 Pro Max, but when I say that the iPhone 12 Pro is the best iPhone, I'm saying that for its time, this iPhone didn't have any flaws and was the most well-polished iPhone that I have ever used. And during my time of using it, I never had any complaints with it like I did other iPhones. The iPhone 12 Pro made everything that the iPhone was known for much better, and that's why it's my favorite iPhone of all time. It has an amazing A14 Bionic processor that still holds up till this day. It has a Super Retina XDR display that can still compete with a lot of other phones in terms of resolution. It has a 12 megapixel camera system that can still take high quality photos and record high quality videos. And it has a 2015 milliamp hour battery that can still last you all day. And even though the iPhone 12 Pro has a lot of things going for it, I wanted to give you guys my experience with it after using it for over a year now. Now, the next thing that I loved about the iPhone 11 Pro Max after using it for 2 years was the amazing display. Now, the Super Retina XDR display on the 12 Pro was definitely one of my favorite displays that Apple had ever produced. I really admire how much Apple put into this display because it's the same as the 13 Pro in terms of quality. Like right here, you can see me scrolling through the OS, and I really liked how smooth it was and still is. Everything was fluid, and the overall feel when you're using the display is great. I also really liked how precise the haptics were. Like right here, you can see just how fast it responds to the touch of my finger. I never got any lags. I never had to press on something twice for it to work, and everything worked how I wanted it to. The only thing that I didn't love about the 12 Pro's display was that it didn't have a 60 Hz display, and as someone who was coming from a Samsung or a Google phone, it made the screen feel a little bit more outdated in comparison. But besides that, I really liked the resolution and entertainment experience. The size wasn't too big for me and was actually perfect when watching videos and movies. And to show you guys what I mean, here are some examples of me watching videos and playing a game.
Guys to choose, I'll keep an eye on which one sells more, but choose wisely. Either way, stay hydrated. But either way, this right here is the Valve Steam Deck.
Now, the next thing that I loved about the iPhone 11 Pro Max after using it for 2 years was the pretty good battery. Now, the battery on the iPhone 12 Pro was really good when it came to how much I used it in my everyday life. I would average about 6 to 7 hours of on-screen time a day doing work on my phone, on social media, and even recording videos. And at the end of the day, I would have about 11% battery left, which was really good since I record videos on it almost every day. And on days where I wasn't using it as much, I would end my day with about 25% battery left, which again is really good. Something else that I loved about the battery on the 12 Pro was the fact that the charging times were actually pretty fast. Like whenever I would forget to charge my phone at night, I would charge it up in the morning and it would be on 100% by the time I was done, which was pretty amazing and really practical. The only problem that I had with the 12 Pro is that it's harder to connect it to my wireless charger, but besides that, it's pretty fine. Now, the next thing that I loved about the iPhone 12 Pro after using it for 1 year was the amazing software. Now, the software on the iPhone 12 Pro was as stable as any other iPhone in the market. Like right here, you can see me scrolling through the OS and I didn't really get any trips. The phone wasn't laggy, I don't get any crashes, and the phone overall ran really smooth just like on any other iPhone. I also really loved how when I was playing power heavy games like Asphalt 9, you can see that there are no lags and I'm able to play the game as smooth as possible, which was a great representation of the OS as a whole. And the final thing that I loved about the software on the iPhone 12 Pro was how well it connected to my other devices. Like whenever I took a photo, it was saved to my computer. Whenever I saved my passwords, all of my Apple devices used them as well. And whenever I was down shooting a video, I would airdrop my photos to my MacBook so that I could easily edit. And things like that made the software experience feel much easier for me, and also why Apple's OS is so known, because it makes life easier. Now, the next thing that I loved about the iPhone 11 Pro Max after using it for 2 years was the surprisingly good speakers. Now, the dual speakers on the 12 Pro were really good. Whenever I was listening to music or whenever I was watching a video, I really loved the fact that I could play them anywhere and the quality didn't drop a bit, which was really refreshing. The bass was also something that I loved about the speakers. Like whenever I would play one of my gym songs, the bass hit harder than most smartphones. And something else that I really loved about the speakers was the overall sound quality. There were even times where I would watch a video out loud because of how good they sounded. And now the last thing that I loved about the speakers was just how loud they were. And to give you guys an idea of that, here's a speaker test. seen here. Now, after using the iPhone 13 Pro Max for about 6 months now, the one thing that kept coming to my mind whenever I was using it on a day-to-day basis was this one simple statement that I think explains the 13 Pro Max pretty perfectly. And that statement is, I think that the iPhone 13 Pro Max is the best iPhone that you can get in 2022. Now, the last thing that I loved about the iPhone 11 Pro Max after 2 years of use was the pretty great cameras. And I think that the 12 Pro's camera had great quality to the point where I could say that I had no major complaints when it came to taking photos. Like right here, you can see my outside daytime photos, and I would say that these were really good pictures that turned out really well. The skies were very vibrant yet color accurate. The trees and other aspects of nature were really sharp. My face looked pretty color accurate, especially compared to last year's version where it will look a little yellow at times, and the overall vibrancy of the outside pictures were great to no surprise. Now when we look at the inside daytime photos, I will say that these were also really great. Like right here, you can see that there was no graininess no matter how dark it got, and my selfies were top notch when compared to other iPhones. Next up, when we look at the outside nighttime photos, I will say that this is where the 12 Pro performed very well. Like right here, you can see that the night mode photos didn't give off any graininess, the colors were accurate, and my skin tone didn't look yellow, which made me want to take more selfies. And the last environment that I wanted to cover when it came to pictures on the 12 Pro was the inside nighttime photos. And when we look at them, you can see that there was some graininess, the quality wasn't as great, and it really struggled when there was little to no lighting. But once I turned the lights on, the quality got much better, the sharpness was still great, the colors were very accurate, which definitely redeemed the camera overall. And when it came to video quality, the 12 Pro had one of the best to offer. And to give you guys an example, here are some 4K videos that I took on it.
I'm good.
And there it is, you guys, my final review on the iPhone 11 Pro Max. Now let me know down below, would you get the iPhone 11 Pro Max in the year of 2022? Let me know. And if you guys made it to the end of this video, I'd like to say thank you for sticking around, and don't forget to like the video and subscribe, it'll be very appreciated. And as far as social media, you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram, and I will see you guys on the next one. Peace.